Hi, welcome to day 2 of the Accelerator Program. How are you getting on with I am safer than I feel I am? And have you posted in the Mental Health Wizard Facebook group your example of recognizing that you are safer than you feel you are? It's important that you do this because being part of the program is a brilliant opportunity to fast track stuff. Because you won't get this information anywhere else, because much of this I have developed myself. But I promise you this, everything I tell you is completely 100% accurate. Now, I want to address this issue about emotions today. You might think that my approach in helping you to use the mantra exercise, I am safer than I feel I am, does not take into account your feelings, your emotions. You might say, well, you don't know what I'm going through, you don't know how I feel, you don't know how bad it is for me. Fine, I appreciate that. I do not understand your experience. But I know for an absolute fact that you are safer than you feel you are. And I'll tell you why. If you are genuinely at risk, you're not anxious, you're frightened. And that fear, that fight or flight system motivates you to do stuff. To run, to fight, to freeze. It gives you the adrenaline, the energy necessary to do something. If you're anxious, anxiety is the emotion of fear without a threat. If you're anxious, you're kind of stumped, you don't know what to do. Now you might say, well, you don't know how bad I feel. No, I don't know how bad you feel. But the fact is, I know you feel bad inappropriately. You don't need to feel bad. And this brings us to the topic of today's input. Feelings are not facts. I often ponder this question, right? Why are mental health problems getting worse? And why is it so hard for people to recognize that the problem of mental health problems is not that complex to solve? Well, here's the answer. Emotional problems, mental health problems are emotional problems, and we tend to believe that how we feel is valid and accurate. So if you feel bad, you are bad. If you feel anxious, you are threatened. If you feel not good enough, you are not good enough. If you feel someone's out to get you, someone's out to get you. If you feel you're being followed, you're being followed. Your feelings are usually taken as facts. And what we have to recognize is we've got to start to separate this out. How you feel is not a fact. And by a fact, I mean how you feel mostly does not represent external reality. And certainly that's true if you have a mental health problem, panic, anxiety, and worry. So let's take panic as an example. Panic is the massive experience of fear, again, without a threat, but it feels so overwhelming that, you get tunnel vision, you get palpitations, it's hard to speak, you've got to sit still, you can't do anything. And when I've experienced these things many years ago, before I understood what it was, I used to have to lie down in the cubicle of a toilet and kind of go through a blackout process because you just couldn't function. And I had no clue that that was panic. But I appreciate it's like debilitating, and you go like, why? Well, the answer is this. Your emotions have kicked in to give you the experience of imminent annihilation, like life or death, and you haven't got any problem at all. The first time I had one of those experiences, I was sitting in a restaurant. I'd been hitchhiking as a young man. And I was sitting in a restaurant in Saint-Tropez having a salad. And I had to leave the table and go lie down the toilet. Another time, I'm in a discotheque, a disco, if you remember what discos are. I'm in a disco and I had to go lie down again in the cubicle on the floor. My feelings, and neither times, by the way, did I understand what was happening. My feelings gave my body the experience of having to do something catastrophically important, fight or flee, massive adrenaline rush, whoa, but no threat. So, we have to recognize that our feelings are just our feelings. Sometimes they're useful, sometimes they're not useful. But if you have a mental health problem, your feelings are typically not useful and not valid. They're not accurately like tuning you into what's going on in life. They're distorting your experience because they're being overly focused on what you're imagining might happen, what you remember happened, what you imagine might happen. And so our feelings are not facts, and we've got to recognize that. So today what I'd like you to do is to just ponder this idea, because I want to develop this insight. Just because I feel bad doesn't mean I am bad. I feel this doesn't make it true. Feelings are not facts. So I'd like you to ponder that, and I'd like you to it's kind of homework, but it's not really homework. I want you to carry on with I am safer than I feel I am. But I want you to post one example on the Facebook group where you have gone, I feel, but you know what? It's not accurate. I feel, but it's not valid. I feel, but you know what? I don't need to feel that. One example where you're using this insight that feelings are not facts to change your experience. Yeah, even though I feel like, but you know what? That's not true. Because it's this repetitive use of insight, this repetitive corrective, I feel it, but it's not true. I feel it, but it's not valid, that tells your brain over a period of time, and we're going for 2 weeks, right? Over a period of time, that you don't want this experience because your brain thinks you do because you always accept it as valid. Don't like it, but valid. We are saying, actually, do you know what? This isn't valid. I feel it, but you know it's not true. I feel it, but it's not accurate. I do feel it, but it's not valid. Post one example on the Mental Health Wizard Facebook group where you have recognized that actually, just because you feel it doesn't make it true. Tomorrow, we're going to tackle the problem of avoidance. Now, you might say, why do my problems persist? And we're going to be talking about one of the biggest elements that makes problems hang around, and that's avoidance. All right, so talk to you tomorrow. Post your example on the Mental Health Wizard Facebook group.